Every European golden visa has been killed, restricted, or priced out of reach, except one, and it's been sitting there since 2017. Today I'm breaking down Italy's investor visa. Spain's golden visa is dead. Greece tripled the price. Malta's citizenship program, the original one, was terminated by the European Court of Justice. While all of that was happening, Italy kept its program exactly as it was. Same price, same structures, same rules. 8 years running, 250,000 that you invest only after you are approved. Zero requirement to actually live there, full Schengen access from day one and renewable indefinitely. We recently went deep on this with our immigration lawyer on a live webinar. Over 450 people registered, and I think 105 on average stayed with us for over 1 hour. That was most interest I've ever seen for any session we have hosted. Applications for the visa grew 63% last year alone, so something is clearly happening. Today I'm giving you a full breakdown how Italy investor visa actually works, the strategic angles most people completely miss, the 5 mistakes that kill applications, and who this genuinely makes sense for. Let's get into it. The context matters here, because you can't understand why Italy matters right now without seeing what happened to literally every other option. For the past decade, European golden visa programs have been the go-to for non-European citizens seeking residency and Schengen access. Portugal's golden visa launched in 2012 and became the gold standard until recently. Spain followed, Greece became hugely popular, Malta offered a citizenship pathway, and then everything started to change. In October 2023, Portugal eliminated real estate from its program. The most popular route, the gold standard, was gone overnight. In April 2025, Spain killed its golden visa entirely. Greece tripled its Athens threshold to 800,000 euro. And Malta's Citizenship-by-investment program, the CBI, was terminated by the European Court of Justice also in 2025. We are watching the systematic closure of European residency-by-investment pathways. One by one, they are disappearing. And while all this was happening, Italy did something different. Nothing. Italy's investor visa has been sitting there since 2017. No changes, no price increases. Application jumped 63% last year with 209 approved authorizations. The smart money has figured something out. At 250,000 for the startup investment pathway, Italy now offers the lowest entry point of any major European Union residency by investment program. Portugal's cheapest route is now 200k, but that's precisely a cultural donation. This means that you lose entirely your money, so zero return on your investment. Greece matches 250,000 for startups, but imposes job creation requirements and a 5 years holding period. Italy, you get full shareholder rights, no job creation mandates, and potential capital appreciation alongside your residency. So let me show you exactly how it works. Hi, I'm Alessandro. I have a PhD in public law. I'm a qualified lawyer, and I've spent the last several years building companies across Europe, the UAE, and Asia. I currently live between Lisbon and Singapore, and through my company, Bitenship, we have raised over 25 million helping people navigate exactly these kind of decisions: residency, citizenship, tax structuring. So when I break down programs like this, it's definitely not just theory. I've done the legal work, seen the applications, and I know where they fail. This channel is where I share all of this information. I'm on a mission to build the best jurisdictional intelligence on the internet, with real numbers, trade-offs, and strategies that actually work for people, optimizing for freedom and sovereignty. So if that's your word, make sure to hit subscribe. I'll be going deep on specific country breakdowns and strategies in the coming weeks. So let me break down how the Italian visa actually works. Italy gives you 4 investment pathways, each at a different price point, each designed for a different profile. Pathway number 1. Innovative startup, 250,000 euro. This is the flagship route, the one driving most of programs' growth. Your capital goes into an Italian startup innovative, a company registered with the Italian Chamber of Commerce that meets specific innovation criteria under the Italian law. This is the only route that offers genuine upside potential. Your 250,000 buys real equity in a real company. It's an investment. This is not a fee for residency or a donation. Pathway number 2, Italian company, 500,000 at direct equity investment into an Italian limited liability company or joint stock company. listed or unlisted. This suits investors who want exposure to proven Italian businesses rather than early-stage ventures. Quick detail from our webinar, someone asked if you could buy 500,000 of stock in a large Italian bank, and the answer is yes, but it must be purchased through an Italian authorized broker and it must be on the Italian exchange. Pathway number 3. Philanthropic donation. 1 million euro, you donate 1 million to Italian culture, education or scientific research. It's not going to come back. Yes, it's the simplest structure, but of course most people, the startup route objectively makes far more sense at a quarter of the price with the actual equity upside. Pathway number 4, government bonds. 2 million Italian government bonds with a minimum 2-year maturity. Near zero default risk, but the 2 million price tag puts it out of reach for most applicants. For most people watching this, the 250,000 startup route is the play. It's the most accessible and it's the only one, practically speaking, offering genuine investment upside. Now, let me walk you through the timeline, and this is where I want to share something that surprised me. I recently spoke with a founder, someone who would for sure recognize, who had been stuck in Portugal's golden visa pipeline for over a year, still waiting, no timeline. He applied for Italy's investor visa, nulla osta approved in 3 weeks, visa stamped the same day at the consulate. Total time from application to residency permit under 4 months. Portugal now routinely takes between 11 and 15, or let's say general terms 12 and 18 months. Greece takes 6 to 9 months on average. Spain no longer exists as an option. Start to finish, that's documentation, government approval, consular visa and arrival. One detail from our immigration lawyer that surprised me, investor visa applicants have legal priority at Italian consulate by law. Our lawyer joked about the fact that you could technically knock on the door and they would have to let you in. In practice, applicants have had their visa stamped the same day. And the critical point, you invest after you are approved, not before. Any investment made before the visa is granted does not count. Italy tells you yes first, and then you put your capital in. Now, here is where it gets really interesting because the visa itself is just the beginning. The strategic value is usually in what it unlocks, and I want to be very detailed on this part. So, first of all, zero minimum stay. Italy's investor visa is the only residency permit in Europe that does not require any minimum time spent in country to renew. You can maintain your residency permit indefinitely without spending a single day per year in Italy, as long as your investment stays in place. For Americans especially, this is massive. If you are a US citizen, you pay US taxes regardless. For many American applicants, the goal is not to become an Italian tax resident, it's rather to have the freedom to spend more than 90 days in Italy and access the Schengen area without triggering Italian tax obligations. The investor visa allows exactly that. Second, Schengen access. The moment you hold the visa, you gain access to the entire Schengen area, up to 90 days in every European country. And here is the nuance most people miss. Your time spent in Italy on the investor visa does not count against your Schengen 90-day allowance in other countries. Those are separate. So you could spend months in Italy and then spend 90 days in France, 90 days in Spain, 90 days in Germany, in Portugal, wherever you want to be. Looked at from this perspective, the Italian investor visa isn't just access to Italy, it's in a certain form and within certain limits access to Europe. Number 3, the 300,000 flat tax option. If you choose to become an Italian tax resident spending more than 183 days per year, you can access Italy's 300,000 flat tax regime. You pay 300,000 per year, covering all of your foreign assets, foreign income and foreign gains. Italian sourced income is taxed separately under standard rules, but for everything else, 300,000 euro. That's it. For someone earning 10 million euro abroad, that's roughly 3% effective rate. Compared to 40% plus in the UK or other high tax jurisdictions, the math is pretty straightforward. Family members can join for 50,000 euro each. The regime lasts up to 15 years. This is fully optional, by the way. If you don't want to become a tax resident, the investor visa is the one permit that lets you avoid it entirely. No minimum stay, no tax residency trigger. Fourth, and this is the one I didn't consider until a client brought it up. You could use your Schengen access technically to spend 60 days in Cyprus, establish non-dom tax residency there at 0% on foreign income, and you can keep your Italian residency valid at once. You get European mobility plus a potentially optimal tax structure that extends well beyond Italy. Number 5, family coverage. Minor children and spouses join under a family reunion process. They receive their own residence permit with full working rights in Italy. No additional investment required. Number 6, pathway to permanent residence and citizenship. After 5 years of continuous legal residence, you can apply for permanent residency. That's a long-term European Union residency permit granting rights nearly equivalent to European Union citizens. Now, citizenship is a separate path. Very importantly, the standard route is 10 years of legal and continuous residency in Italy. It's not fast, but the path exists and is transparent. An important detail here is the years toward citizenship only count if you are actually residing in Italy and registered as a resident. If you're using the zero stay feature and spending minimal time in Italy, the clock unfortunately doesn't tick towards citizenship. So the program gives you a choice: pure optionality without living there, or a genuine pathway to an Italian passport and by extension an European Union passport if you commit to actually being there. Now, there are 5 specific mistakes that kill Italian investor visa applications. These come directly from our immigration lawyer who has processed these for years. Source of fund issues, startup status traps, renewal misunderstandings, assumptions about citizenship that cost people years. I'm not going to run through all 5 here because each one deserves proper detail, but the good news is that we have compiled everything from our webinar and research into a comprehensive Italian investor visa guide. You will find in this guide specifically the complete breakdown of all 4 pathways, the step-by-step application process, Italy's flat tax regime, source of funds requirements for crypto specifically, and the 5 application mistakes in full detail. It's the most detailed resource we have created on this topic. If you want to download it, you can find the link here in the description below. So you have got this visa, great structure, real pathway, lowest entry point in Europe, but there has always been one problem with traditional golden visa programs. They require you to park capital in assets you wouldn't otherwise touch. Agricultural projects, right? Generic real estate funds with unclear fees and cost structures, philanthropic donations you will never see again. For Bitcoin holders specifically, this creates a painful choice. Either you convert your Bitcoin to fiat, triggering a taxable event, and then you invest in something you don't really believe in just to get residency. Meanwhile, central banks are studying Bitcoin, corporations are adding it to their treasuries, and the institutional rotation into the Bitcoin ecosystem is accelerating. We asked ourselves, why can't an investor visa investment align with where the world is going? So we built something unique. Bitenship Italia is an Italian registered startup that holds Bitcoin directly. You invest 250,000 in equity, you get a visa, and you are exposed to Bitcoin. Potentially there is no fiat conversion, and in general you are not going to park assets in what you don't believe. The structure gives preferential shareholders 90% of realized profits from Bitcoin operations, and withdrawal rights occur every 24 months. So you are not locked in for the full duration of the startup activities if your circumstance changes. We embedded in principle the best flexibility we could within the limits of course, law and compliance for accommodating eventually investor needs. You need to know that the policy of the startup is overall conservative, but at the same time, risks always remain. For those ones who already have and hold Bitcoin conviction and want European optionality, I think that this is one of the best options. Since launch, actually, we had an incredible response. We got 150 plus individuals reaching out. The interest for this journey came from 3 different types of individuals. Category 1 is potentially well-known founders. The second category is Bitcoin and Web3 natives, and this is about 30 to 40%. But the largest category that we didn't expect comes from entrepreneurs, successful professionals like surgeons, business owners who are not, I would say, Bitcoin native, but they appreciate the idea of having exposure to Bitcoin. If this sounds like you have got Bitcoin conviction and you want European optionality, visit bitenship.com and book a free consultation. We will be honest about whether it fits your situation, link in the description. So to summarize, let me be direct about who the investor visa actually works for. The Italian investor visa works brilliantly for non-European citizens who want Schengen access without committing to full relocation. Zero stay required, environment, renewable indefinitely. This is pure optionality at 250,000 euro. Americans who want to spend extended time in Europe, you keep paying US taxes regardless. The investor visa in this way gives you unlimited access to Italy and Schengen mobility without creating a second tax obligation. Bitcoin holders, I think you will find our product extremely interesting. Family planning long-term, spouses and children joining without additional investments. Kids gain access to Italian and European education systems, and after 5 years, permanent residency becomes available. High net worth individuals who want the 300,000 now flat tax as a bonus. Get a visa, establish tax residency, and access one of Europe's most competitive tax structures right now. People who already have UAE or Singapore residency and want a European complement. The investor visa gives you a Schengen foothold without requiring you to actually live in Italy. Now, let me be clear about who the investor visa does not work for. So if you're looking for the fastest path to citizenship with minimal presence via a residency-by-investment program, Portugal, even with its extending timeline, is still better for that specific play. Italy requires 10 years of actual residency for citizenship. You can document your source of funds cleanly if capital came through channels that are difficult to trace, and this especially applies to early crypto gains. The application in general will face serious scrutiny and complications. Lastly, if you're looking for a pure passive, guaranteed return on your 250,000, the startup pathway is equity risk. Companies, even at 500k threshold, can fail. These are investments. They're not deposits. If you want zero bureaucracy, bureaucracy is real in Italy. It's navigable with good lawyers and accountants, but it won't disappear. That's non-negotiable. The bigger picture here, and what I think most people miss about programs like this, is, well, the investor visa isn't really about Italy. It's about optionality. An Italian residency permit gives you access to 27 different countries. It gives you immediate access to Schengen, which means true Schengen foothold from day one that compounds in value as other doors close. Now, my thesis is, in a world that is getting more fragmented, more uncertain, and more volatile, the ability to move freely across an entire continent right now is not anymore a luxury. It's an insurance, and the most sophisticated people I know are almost never buying certainty. They are all buying optionality, and 250,000 for a renewable, indefinite access to Europe with genuine investment upside potential is one of the most underpriced options available right now. These windows don't stay open forever, and they never get cheaper. Italy's flat tax started at 100,000 euro, and it moved to 200,000 first, and then 300,000 right now. Portugal Golden Visa kept narrowing down until first real estate was eliminated entirely in 2023, and this list goes on. So Italy's investor visa is right now at 250,000, has been stable since 2017. That's unusual, and I wouldn't bet on it staying it forever. The cost of, I will do it next year for sure, maybe I'm not that convinced right now, is something you should consider. Constitutional protection applies to those who enter the system before usually changes occur. If you are in when the law eventually changes, well, you will be grandfathered. Objectively, unlike Bitcoin, you can't buy citizenship on the dip. When programs close, they are gone. When terms change, only those already in the system are protected. The window is open, but based on every trend in European migration policy over the past 3 years, it's narrowing. Italy investor visa is having a moment, not because it changed, but because everything around it did. While every other European golden visa was being dismantled, diluted, or priced out of reach, Italy kept its door open. Same price, same structure, same opportunity. For the right person, this is the most compelling residency by investment option left in Europe, and based on every trend I'm seeing in European migration policies, I wouldn't wait. The full guide with every detail we covered today is linked in the description. If you are interested in Bitenship Italia, visit citizenship.com for a free consultation. And make sure to subscribe. I'm covering every major jurisdiction for location-independent people, the real numbers, the real trade-offs. Drop a comment and tell me which program or country you want me to break down next. Thanks for watching, and as always, ciao for now.